Thomas the Tank Engine was feeling bright and cheerful. It was a splendid day. "Good morning," he whistled to some cows, but the cows didn't reply. "Never mind," said Thomas. "They're busy with their breakfast."
No, none of those cows would have actually responded to such a greeting. Ah, a story that is focusing on Thomas. It's actually been a while since we've had a narrative talking solely about this guy. And this time, I am genuinely interested in knowing what'll happen here, being that he has been shown to be rather lax this season in general. And as cheery as he looked, somebody else seemed to not be enjoying their day. Bertie, one of Thomas's first friends, was having road trouble.
"Bad luck, Bertie. Now, if you were a steam engine, you would run on a pair of reliable rails." "Huh," replied Bertie. "The railway was supposed to deliver tar to mend the road 2 weeks ago. You can't trust a thing that runs on rails." "I run on rails. You can trust me, Bertie. I'll see if I can find out what's happened."
Okay, so Thomas is still being shown to jab, but this time it's far from his obnoxious self from that of seasons before. Here, this is much more lighthearted. Either way, though, the gesture to figure out the issue for Bertie is a generous one. However, it seems as though many other characters were not content with their work. James, who was working in Knapford Yards, complained to Gordon, who happened to be nearby.
"Oh," groaned the freight cars, "just you wait. We'll show you." Gordon laughed. "I'll tell you what, James. If you pretended to be ill everywhere, you couldn't shunt freight cars here or go to the quarry there, could you?" "What a good idea," agreed James.
Now, why would that in any way sound truthful and like the right thing to do? James, are you that stuck up that you can't see through your own laziness? And Gordon, shame on you for starting this whole bad idea. So much for the big engines being smart. When Thomas arrived, James played his little act, of which then Thomas offered to cover for him. What I can't seem to digest is just how exactly Thomas has all this free time to do everyone else a favor. He does have his own work today, and I'm sure he gets no overtime.
Some of James's cars were coupled behind Thomas, and he steamed away to the quarry. The cars were still cross. "We couldn't pay James back for bumping us, so we'll play tricks on Thomas instead. One engine is as good as another."
Oh, you silly trucks. Why would you do that? One engine is not equal to another. Especially James, who has tricked Thomas twice now from 2 stories ago. Not cool, man. After acquiring the material from Farquhar Quarry, Thomas took the trucks to their next destination, or so he thought. The trucks were still scheming behind his back, and yet he didn't hear a single word. Oh wait, that's right. He has no ears. Wait a second. How do the engines hear? This whole series has a huge unanswered question. But I'll pretend I never got to this point, because it's something that'll never be explained.
"Now for our plan," giggled the cars. "Go faster, go faster." They pushed Thomas over the switches. "Slow down," called Thomas's driver, and applied the brakes.
Ah, jeez, that sucks. That race-like music was fun to hear, though. The cymbal at the very end made it extra jokey sounding. Although here's one thing that doesn't make sense. Why was Thomas even on that track to begin with? He could very well see in front of him, and that line did not lead anywhere except to Carlin Pond. Thomas should have had his brakes applied way before the truck started pushing him. Was anyone focusing on their job today? Too late now. Duck removed the trucks, and Edward brought Thomas back on the breakdown train. On the way back, Thomas told Edward about Bertie's dilemma.
"That's strange," said Edward. "A car full of tar has been left at my station. That must be it. Driver will make sure it gets to Bertie now."
And with Thomas back at Knapford Yards, James and Gordon came forward to apologize. And they're lucky too, because Thomas could have been super mad considering James just had recently messed with Thomas for no good reason. But you never know. Thomas may very well tell Top Hat anyway, even though he forgave them. Meanwhile, Bertie was happy to update Thomas that his road was finally being mended.
"Thanks for all you did," added Bertie. "Now I know I can trust an engine, especially if his name is Thomas." Gordon and James puffed silently away to the shed, but Thomas still had company. "Well, well," he sighed, "what a day for surprises." The toad, who was looking forward to a ride home, noisily agreed.
That's one friendly toad. Although there's a friendlier character of the same name. Oops. Can't help myself. It's been a while since I've made a character reference. This was an enjoyable episode and had a great message in its story. Thomas demonstrates in this story that upbeat attitudes are the keys to success. As much negativity was around Thomas, he worked with that and tried to make things better around him, whether that be finding the missing tar for Bertie or taking the trucks to the quarry for James. Here, though, you can see these two red individuals. One is asking for help because they genuinely need it, while the other is doing it for selfish reasons. Again, this entry continues to drive home that Bertie and Thomas are truly great friends to each other. As for James and Gordon, I don't know what those two boneheads were thinking. It's nice, however, they realize they regrettably made a bad decision in their behavior. Notice how quickly they decided to leave? And I'm sure I know why, too. Has Top Hat been seen anywhere today? Yeah, I thought not. That's more than likely why they amscrayed right after they said they were sorry. I'm telling you, Thomas is ultra relaxed this season. Sure, he's not happy all the time, but several moments he just rolls with whatever's going on. I wonder what changed his view. The music to this episode was enjoyable. During the show, we get Thomas's theme a couple times, and we also get Edward's when Thomas is being brought back to Knapford Yards. That hasn't been heard in some time. The best musical cue belonged to his accident. It's goofy enough to get its own credit. For set pieces, we also get regular stops, but also one new and one old, believe it or not. We see common areas like Knapford Yards, Toriek Station, Farquhar Quarry, and the Farquhar River Bridge. Callan Pond is a nice little spot, but there's not a whole lot to it, aside from a track that leads to a pond. What we did see again, though, was the Arlesdale Lakeside, way back from Season 1. Curious as to whether we'll see any more of that place. I doubt it. Next episode is Mavis. Thanks for watching.